Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of the podcast. Today, I have a returning guest, my brother from the first episode, Joseph. And now for our main guest for today, for this episode, my eldest nephew, actually our eldest nephew, Nicholas Olaniel. How's it going, everybody?
He's so sweet.
All right, let's begin. Yes, so Nicky, or Nicholas, where did you get Nicky from?
A bunch of people call me Nicky, which pretty weird name to call me. Just Nick.
I think
Nicholas.
it's pretty
I like
normal.
it. It's like a
Yeah.
little
I
pure,
feel like it's
cute
like
name.
like a girl's name. You know, everybody
No.
calls Nicky, like Nicole.
I mean, I
Nicky.
guess, but it's like, I don't know, it's
Why?
like a pure, cute name.
Do you see me as a girl, Joe?
Kind of, know.
No,
Oh,
I
wow.
think that's pretty normal. There's
Yeah.
like, what are some other names that are like the full name? Mikey? Michael?
Yeah,
Michael, Mikey?
Mikey's one.
Joe has
Yeah.
a really fun one that he calls me these.
We went over it
sometimes.
last podcast. Joe Ho.
Oh, yeah, Joe Ho, Mike Ho.
People just call me Nick.
Mm-hmm.
Nick.
Yeah, I call you Nicky pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
But I, like, even when I was super young, like, it's been around for a while, because, like,
Yeah.
even when I was super young, like, when I heard him Nicky, like, people called him Nicky, so it originated a while ago.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I don't really mind as long as you call me.
Yeah, yep. So, Nicky, how old are you?
16.
Okay, 16.
Where
And
are you?
so, I remember when you were younger, like really young,
Yeah.
probably like 1 year old or something, and Joseph might remember too. I
Little
remember
baby.
seeing pictures of you as a baby, as a model on magazines
I
with
was
the
a model.
mohawk.
Yeah, the mohawk.
I
No,
was
I
rock-
remember that.
I was rocking
it was
mohawk.
iconic. It was like, oh, your whole family remembered because it was like Nicky was known to always have a
Yeah.
mohawk.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember my parents had told me that when I walked in to go model, the people there, they're like him, like we want him as our model, and I was like,
Yeah.
We should try and put up pictures if we can. Maybe yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
I'm
even
gonna,
know, I don't even know where the pictures are. That's the thing.
I'm
There's
gonna.
so like, there's a lot. I just don't know where they are. My
Yeah.
mom probably has them somewhere.
I'm gonna talk to your mom,
Yeah,
and
'cause
then
that's
I'm
sweet.
gonna ask for that picture, and I'll
For
put it
sure.
up on the video
Yeah,
No,
because
that's-
it is really cute.
I was
awesome.
rocking the mohawk at
Yeah.
1 years old.
Okay, so Nicky, you're here in Minnesota, but for most of your 16 years growing
Miami.
up, you were in Miami.
Yeah,
Yep.
very different lifestyle. A lot. Here, people are so genuine, nice over here. Like, people just want to be nice and help you with everything. In Miami, it's so different. Everybody's more for themselves. People only think about themselves. People are pretty selfish over there. Like, when people want to help you, they obviously want something from you. So it's like they want something in return. And that's why it's so different over here, because people are just, nice. Everybody goes on with their life. Everybody over there is, like, miserable. There's a lot of stuff that goes on over there that isn't really good. So it's very different.
Sure, I agree that it is very different. I feel like life over there too is a little bit more kind
Yeah.
of exuberant. There's a lot of stuff
sure.
going on.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of activities, and if you're
Yeah.
into like, social media, fitness,
Yeah.
it's probably a good place to kind of be involved in
Definitely.
too.
I feel,
Yeah.
because I feel like Miami goes for like all the hot spots though. So like New York, California, like LA, like Miami, they're kind of known as like that. So like a lot of people know LA is like there's a lot of fake relationships down there because everyone's trying to find their way, build their way through, and get to the top. I feel, and so always like you said, like everyone's always trying to get something from you. There's it's hard to find genuinity down there, but that is like the hot spot to grow. So like that's where all
Yeah.
the attention's at. So that's why Miami and them, they're like known to like build businesses and get somewhere. So it makes sense.
Yeah,
Yep.
everything he's saying is right. So Miami's pretty a hot spot, honestly. A lot of people
Gotcha.
go over there for tourism and everything.
Gotcha. Okay, so tell us what school was like. Elementary school, let's just start there, and then middle
So-
school.
The first school I went to, I don't quite remember it because it was so long ago. Because I did switch from different schools because I have ADHD, and during like growing up, it was like pretty bad. Like I was pretty crazy. So my first school, I went there for kindergarten. All and I think it was just kindergarten. And then I went to another school for first grade. And then from that school, it was a Christian school. I don't quite remember it, but it was a pretty good school. I had a teacher there that would like help me with my ADHD because like
I don't know.
I was very like different. Like I needed to be calmed down. I needed like stuff to chill out because if I didn't, I would go like really crazy. I was super hyper. I was super energetic. I'd like walk around the class when everybody's sitting down. It was pretty bad. And then I got put on these like meds to like chill me out. I mean, it was pretty tough. I couldn't really control myself at that age. And then second grade, I had another teacher, and this was in Somerville. It's actually it's right next to my house. Like you should walk there. It was like 5 minutes. So yeah, it was a pretty good school. I went there all the way from second grade to fifth grade. Good school, good school. A lot of like I met a lot of my friends there because since it was so close to my house. A lot of people that went there are in my neighborhood, so that's why like the people in my neighborhood I'm really close with because I've known them since second grade and like throughout. So it was a pretty good school. And then from fifth grade, I went to Somerset. It's also a school next to my house. It's a bigger school. I went there for sixth and seventh grade. After seventh grade, I had moved because my mom opened her business in Kendall. So it was easier for her to go drop me off at school next to her job, better than, dropping me off there and then having to come all the way back to pick me up from school. So I went to school in Kendall. The school was named Bridge Prep. Bridge Prep was, it was a very different school, They had just opened up. It was a private school before, so it was like really weird. Nobody really went there. So it was like a lack of communication because there was nobody there. So the only people that were there, they usually came from a different state. Like I have people there that went from Venezuela to Cuba, and that's more of how like I talk Spanish with everybody, because over there they only knew Spanish. They didn't really know English. So after that I went to Vrela. It's actually a school right next to there too, but it's still in Kendall, and I went for ninth grade. Ninth and 10.
Sweet.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a lot of
a
schools.
lot of
Yeah.
change. Out of
So-
all the schools, which one would you say is your favorite?
I definitely have to say Vrela, but with the whole COVID and everything, at the same
Oh,
time, there
yeah.
wasn't as many people. It was like a 2,300 school, so like there was a lot of people that went there. And then when I got there, since COVID, nobody like wanted to go physical, so they all stayed online. So there was only like 300 students there, so it wasn't like the real high school experience.
Right,
Still,
right.
I still only got like there was like 2 people in my classrooms in every class.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm gonna revisit that topic of COVID because I do want to get
Yeah,
your
for sure.
thoughts on that and how it affected you. So I wanted to take a step back. So when you said ADHD, like who diagnosed it and how did you find out?
I do remember that we found out when I was at a young age because it was so bad that it was like, okay, like I'm not a normal child. Like this is way out of my league. So it was more like, okay, I definitely have like some kind of issue that I can't stay in one place. I can't focus. So we just went to the doctor and they kind of told me I had ADHD. And then my mom was like, okay, well, you have to take meds to like chill out because I was so like hyper.
Okay, so the doctor diagnosed it and
Yeah.
then you started taking medication. And do you still take medication or how long did you take it
No,
for?
I stopped taking. It was like a pill, and till like this day, I don't know why I can't take pills. Pills are like so hard to take. It's like I take it, and then I can like feel it in my throat, and I'm like, oh my god, I have to throw up. It's pretty bad. So I stopped taking it in 7th grade because when in 7th grade, I was still like a little hyper, but I was able to like control it and like pay attention sometimes, so it wasn't as needed. And it would cut off my when I would take it, I wouldn't like feel hungry, so I would never eat. I would only eat dinner at home. So I would skip breakfast and lunch. So I was missing everything. So I had to stop taking it that way I could start eating.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't really need it now. I'm good now.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. Did you stop taking it because it suppressed your appetite, or was it just because you stopped needing it in general? Because I remember from like, because I knew you throughout like childhood to like now.
Yeah.
But as a child, of course, you were like but like you're also a child, so you're a lot more
Yeah.
excited, jittery. but you could definitely tell like the ADHD was there. But as you grew up, I definitely noticed it just like slowly, like it started to calm down and it started fading away.
Yeah.
'Cause you can kind of like you barely notice it now.
Yeah. It was more because like my parents wanted me to take it, and I didn't want to take it because like there was so many ways I had to take it because I couldn't take it as a pill. So I'd have to
Right.
like open it, put in like ice cream or yogurt, and I didn't want I'd never like to do it. So I would always like fake do it because I didn't want to do it. So it just came to a point where like I was like, okay, mom, dad, like I'm not gonna take this anymore. Like I really don't need it, and it's like it's hurting me, and it made me focus so much that I felt like a different person. Like I would be in class and I would sit and like, watch the teacher, and I would just be there like, what am I doing? Like I don't feel like myself. It definitely changed my personality for a good like 5 hours. For 5 hours I was like a whole different person. I was just like chill, just like sit down, just chill. I couldn't like there was like no emotion or anything. I was just chilling. It
Yeah.
was pretty weird.
Gotcha. And so, how do you feel now? Like, if you reflect on growing up with that medication, do you feel like it's actually kind of affected how you kind of focus now? Has it been like, okay, now I can kind of control it a little bit more, like
I
mentally?
definitely think that I could control it more. I don't know if it helped me control. I think it just like when I took it, it would put me in a state of mind where it was just like focus and like learn. But I think now, like as like being myself, I think I could like do that by myself mentally.
Right,
Just like
right.
if I'm gonna focus, I gotta focus. I don't think that it like helped me. It only helped me when I took it. But I think I'm good now that I don't need it.
Yeah, I think you've matured a lot.
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
since like when you were younger. Yep.
Yeah,
And-
definitely.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yep. So, so we also have other nephews, and they are also Nicky's
Siblings.
siblings. And so, do you know if Max and Sparrow and Lavender were ever diagnosed with ADHD, or was
Honestly,
it just you that
honestly,
they brought you to the doctor for?
I don't know. That's a really good question. In my opinion, I think Max has ADHD because that kid's wild.
Max is a
Like
wild one.
you can't like chill him out. He's just wild everywhere. Like you take him to the mall. We actually took him to the mall like 2 weeks ago. He was everywhere. Like we were walking, and we were just talking randomly. Walks into the middle of the store, and we're like they're talking, and we're like, wait, where'd Max go? And we see him, and he went into a candy store, and it was like random. He just walked in there. Didn't tell us anything. He's just wild.
Yeah,
And like when he doesn't get what he wants, he throws like huge fit. But like he doesn't pay like he doesn't listen. He doesn't pay attention. So like it could be he have ADHD. He's very energetic. He's pretty wild. So we haven't really gone to like check it out, but I think he does because he's pretty wild.
I can see that maybe. Yeah, you can maybe show some
Yeah,
signs.
and for those of you who don't know, Max is our youngest nephew. Joseph and I's youngest nephew, and he's a twin too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his twin is Sparrow.
Sparrow's pretty chill.
Yeah,
Oh,
Sparrow's
yeah.
twin.
Sparrow's
yeah.
calm.
So-
He likes to color. He likes to read sometimes. He's cute.
Right. Yeah.
Max is like total opposite, which is pretty
Yeah,
weird
they
because
are.
they're twins.
But you love it. That's cool though. Like the twin. Like
Yeah.
it's like that with a lot of twins. There's always like the two different sides of the twin.
But it's weird because when you put them together, they're like the same. Like
Of
Max,
course, yeah.
they're like really wild together. But like when
Right.
you separate them, like we've heard it from teachers too. Like teachers are like, "Oh, Sparrow's really calm and like he learns." Max is just wild, like
Yeah.
wild. I remember because when I used to work, I would never like see them. I would always come back home late, and I never knew anything about it. And my mom had told me that they had said that he couldn't go to school because he was too crazy, so they sent him back online. And I hadn't seen him for like 3 days, and I was like, "What, Max? Like, Max got put online because I was like hyper. That's pretty crazy. Like that's like, I probably could, like if I was still like that, that would probably happen to me. Get back online right now.
So Nikki, I'm kind of curious to know like when you started learning Spanish too, because you can understand it, right?
I can
And-
understand a lot of Spanish, but I definitely lack in pronouncing the words, and it's because I don't really have any. I don't really have any uses because like my parents know Spanish like fluent, but they never really talked to me as I was a kid, so it was just English for me the whole time. And I definitely feel like when I went to British Rep and I met those people that came from those other places, I definitely talked a lot more Spanish with them, and it kind of like built up there.
Mm-hmm.
But as I left that school, like during the summer, I didn't talk any Spanish, so I really like lost it, lost like
Right.
the how I pronounce all the words. That's why it like it doesn't sound as good, but I still like understand everything.
Gotcha. So, like, what age did you start like talking in Spanish with your friends? Did it start very early on, like in elementary school or middle school?
I'd say it started in elementary school because I wouldn't really say I talked to my friends, but I did talk to my grandma a lot because I'm really close to my grandma, so I'd always like talk to her in Spanish, like, and every time I wouldn't, she'd like talk Spanish with me, so I was always like kind of like forced to.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like I don't see her that much, so I don't really have any times where I need to talk Spanish, and if I need to, I obviously will, but it won't be as good. But I know over time it builds up and how I pronounce all the words. It's just I haven't had that moment where I need to like continually talk Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
Usually,
Okay.
yeah. Usually like the fluent practice, just to, like
Yeah.
jog your memory.
I
up,
remember when I went to Cuba in I think it was in 6th grade. I was there for a whole month, and I was talking Spanish for a whole month because nobody over there like knew any English.
Right.
I came back to Miami, and I was like I spoke Spanish like pretty good. It was like really good,
Yeah.
and I just lost it.
Right. So, Joseph, you took Spanish too, right?
I
In
did.
high school?
I did. I took a few years, but it was more just because like I took it just because I needed like the credits for Spanish. I wasn't as much interested in it, but I picked up on like the general stuff. But definitely, it's the general stuff is just like they go more into like grammar and whatnot. But it's not like it could definitely be easier to learn Spanish fluently, like he did, being surrounded by it.
Yeah,
Just because there's like a
definitely.
fluent way of talking Spanish where you're in a conversation compared to like learning it where they kind of just teach you the grammar and like wording but you don't get as much usage out of it, so it's like in the back of your head, can't fluently like put it together. It's just a lot harder.
Mm-hmm. I kind of, yeah, like going off of that, and it's kind of interesting because the different ways of learning it. So, Nikki, you learned it just by like hearing it, kind of
Yeah,
just
in my
colloquially.
yeah, in my opinion, I think like
And-
I can't really learn just like when they teach me about it. I have to like physically
Right,
or like
right. I feel
verbally
that,
like
for sure.
say it and
Mhm.
stuff. That's how I'll learn because it'll stay in my mind, and I'll remember how to say that word. But when they teach me about grammar, it kind of like goes in like one ear in and out the other one because I don't really like I don't use it.
Yeah, you got to put it to use. Exactly.
Yeah, you gotta
or
put
you
it
gotta
to
like
use, you
be
know?
told like that's wrong or like
Yeah.
know where you fix up.
Yep. And I was just gonna add too. So, like Nikki, you learned it kind of colloquially, like just kind of on the street, kind of with friends, and then Joseph had it more kind of like this is the way you learn it, kind of more academic.
Yeah,
Kind of
yeah,
route.
yeah.
And I think it's really interesting how that affects the way you use the language too, and how well you can learn it in those different
sure.
approaches.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like
So-
talking to people definitely like opens it up, and you just verbally say it better after you say it a few times. And obviously, Spanish has its own language, like its own accent, so you gotta say the word specifically to get them right. Cause like
That's how the street way definitely
Yeah.
impacts it.
Yeah,
That's how the
definitely.
street way of learning definitely impacts it. The way you say it, like how fluently, how fast you go, like
Yeah.
the street way is definitely a lot more fluent and just like pronunciation. It's not more accurate.
Right. And yeah, I feel like the way Nikki, the way you learn it kind of colloquially on the street, that's like
Mhm.
probably the fastest way to kind of learn
Yeah.
anything. It's not even just a language. It's just
Yeah.
like, because I think one of the things that happens is that you kind of like break down stuff and almost have like, that's, where schools come from, how you have all these different subjects like biology and stuff.
Mhm.
Obviously, you can experience it, but once you start putting it down to words and really defining it,
Mhm.
Yeah,
it takes some time, but it helps you to communicate it with other people if you can
Yeah.
define it. So, yeah, I feel like learning a language just kind of on the street, kind of colloquial,
Yeah.
is really fast, and then kind of academically, it gives you a good fundamental for.
For sure, definitely fundamentals. Definitely builds a good base. I feel like we can relate to it though, like because we're like Chinese, we have a Chinese heritage, and being around like mom and dad, like just so young. I mean, you eventually learn to like learn Chinese, but I remember just being in the household, not even knowing Chinese. I eventually already like built like kind of knew Chinese just because I could understand what was going on. just from hearing it for so long. So I could pick up on Chinese. I can understand it, but then it comes to like being able to speak back is where I'd lack on, just because I don't like practice.
And just to add to that, like, right, we learned Chinese like from mom and dad speaking, and so we just kind of learned it by ear.
Yeah.
But if you were to like explain it to someone or had to define something, I would be at a loss.
I
of
can't
words.
do it.
Yeah.
People ask me all the time. Yeah.
Right. And this is where I say academics comes and really saves you when you really need to communicate with other people about understanding what you're learning about, whether it's sports, languages, as we're talking about Chinese. It helps to just understand, there's a grammar structure and it's called this, and you got to put these words there and there, stuff like that. So, this is an interesting topic because, right, Joseph and I are 100% Chinese. And so, Nikki, your mom is half Chinese, half Cuban, and George, your dad, is 100% Cuban, right?
Yeah, pretty sure.
So that
we haven't really like.
we haven't gotten the DNA test.
I don't think we ever have.
And you are 25% Chinese then, a quarter.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Right.
Has to be somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
So what has that kind of been like growing up as? Well, first off, so Nikki, I think I can see some of the Chinese, Asian kind of features.
Yeah. Definitely mixed in. You can,
Yeah.
for sure.
Like, what features do you think they are, Joe?
The eyes.
Yeah, I would say the eyes too. Yeah.
I think he's got the eyes. Yeah, eyes for sure. Maybe I don't know. Pretty much, you can just see like I don't know. There's just like a mix in there. Like for sure eyes, but then like you can definitely see like the eyebrows and like very Cuban.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely my eyes, because a lot of people have told me, and they're like, wow, your eyes are really like squinted. They're like, are you Chinese? And it's like, oh wow, like how'd you know? But yeah.
Okay, so Nikki, growing up as, let's say, quarter Chinese and 3/4 Cuban in Miami, what was that like? Did you get any like, did anyone comment or say stuff like you already mentioned? Like, what was that growing up like that like?
People, they definitely did, like, my eyes. I feel like because since they're always like squinted when I like smile or laugh, they're always like, wow, your eyes like are really squinted, and they're like, are you Chinese? And I'm like, yeah, I'm a little bit Chinese. Like, oh wow, like that's cool, because honestly, you don't really see that many Asians in Miami, to be honest. There's like not really that much, only like in some places like Chinese restaurants and everything, but definitely like in school you don't really see that many. So I was like the only one, but like a little bit Chinese. Not really a lot, but a lot of Cuban.
Okay, gotcha. Was there any point in time where you were growing up, and this is kind of still when you in those young years in elementary school, that you realized that you look kind of different from everyone else? Did you realize that, I am, a little bit, quarter Chinese or something like that? Did you ever have that revelation growing up?
Definitely the eyes, but also my hair. My hair is pretty straight. Like, my hair doesn't do anything.
We got the straight hair too.
My hair is just straight. Like, I could put it to the side and it'll just go back to straight. So I definitely think like that's definitely big, like one of my issues. Just hair. Like I can't do anything with my hair.
Gotcha. So there wasn't like a specific time where you're just like, oh my goodness, I'm different, a little bit different
Like
from most of the Cubans around me. Like I look a little different. Did you ever have something like that? Because I can tell you, like when I was younger, in elementary school, I remember I had this. It's not super like clear, but I remember I had this kind of like my soul was out of my body, looking at myself, like third person view of my body, and I was just like, I'm like different from everyone. Like I'm Chinese, and
I've always wondered what my eyes look like
Caucasian
from a
around
different point of view. So I mean, yeah, I guess.
Okay.
I feel like you like kind of fits in because the majority of people down there are Cuban, and so like, you still are 3/4 Cuban, so like you still blend in pretty well. But just like those little features, like the eyes,
definitely the little features give it out a little bit, but I think like everything else is like you wouldn't
still,
really know.
Still Cuban at heart.
Yeah. I still I really see the main features like is Cuban. I really see that, and I was just kind of curious. But yeah, for the most part, I do see the Cuban features in you, Nikki. So, One thing I wanted to revisit that I mentioned was COVID.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
what grade was it again that you were in?
I was in, I have to say, it was in the middle of ninth grade
Okay.
where it like, so it had, I remember it good because all my friends, like, we were all talking about it. And it was before spring break. So, like,
Right.
it was already going around, like, during that. And we were all talking about it. But we never thought it would go all around the world.
Right.
Because at the beginning, it was just at China. And, like, for a virus to go all around the world, like, pretty fast, to be honest. It's pretty
Pandemic,
crazy.
yeah.
Like, you wouldn't really think about it because it originally started in China. So, we know we were talking about it. And then it started becoming an issue when it was starting to go everywhere. And then I remember they were telling me at school about like an online program that we needed to go to like start doing online school, like if we were gonna do it. And that was literally 2 days before they shut down school. So like no one really like paid attention. Like we didn't have that many lessons to like go over it because like it's pretty hard. Like you do school physical and then you switch to a whole online thing. And like obviously sometimes it would like shut down. You wouldn't be able to open the site. Like there was a lot of issues with it, and we weren't really prepared for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember we were getting to spring break and we were all like excited. We're like, oh, it's gonna be so much fun. Like we're gonna do so much stuff.
Right.
And then they had told us that they're shutting down school. And I remember I was still at school when they told me that. And I was like, oh my God, like school's about to be shut down and we don't even know when it's gonna open up. So it was kind of like, wow, like it's getting serious now.
And how did you feel knowing that
Yeah,
you wouldn't be going back
exactly.
to school for,
It was pretty crazy because no
period
one
of time.
like we didn't even know. I didn't get to say goodbye to people like in person because I was there after school, so everybody had already left and I was waiting for my parents, and like I was texting my friends. I was like, dude, like this is serious. Like they closed all the schools down. Everybody was like, no, they didn't. Like you're lying. and then when spring break was like getting to when it finished and we are going back to school, everybody's like, dude, we're not going back to school. Like I remember because Miami-Dade has like a website and they post everything, and they had posted it and everybody was sharing it on their story on like Instagram and everything. School's done, like we're not going back to school. Everybody was so happy, but then like little did they know that it was gonna be hard because like no one pays attention to online school. I remember like going to my first online class. Everybody had their cameras turned off. I remember like the people were like gaming, and it was like no one cared. But like it's still counted as like actual school, so like you had to go to class, you had to do good, or your grades will fail. Like it's not, it wasn't like an obsession to like do whatever you want, It was still like actual school.
Right. So, when they first announced it and you realized, okay, I'm not going to be going back to school. Like, what did you think about, like, aside from the school part, being at home now? Like, were you pretty excited, or were you just like, oh, I actually like school. I
Yeah.
don't like, going back home.
In my opinion, it was pretty crazy because since I have 3 other siblings and my mom and dad go to work every single day. In my head, I was like, oh my God, like I'm gonna have to stay at home with my brothers and sisters for more than like 6 hours, which is like insane. Cause like I didn't think I could do it. Cause like knowing my brothers, I know they cannot. Like that's the thing when we're talking about ADHD. I know Max cannot. Like none of them can sit down and like physically pay attention without either going on YouTube, playing a game on the computer. So like me as like the person in charge or like the adult at home, I had to like babysit them. I had to make sure Lavender was doing her class, and like obviously I care for them at the same time because I want them to do good in school. So I had to make sure they were going to class, but then I had to make sure I was doing good too because I was also in school. And I was like already in 9th grade, so it was like I had to like start doing good in school. So I had to like make sure be on top of everybody. And my parents, they didn't come home till like 6, so it was like pretty crazy.
Gotcha. That's kind of interesting. So it was more of just like you didn't immediately think about
I didn't
the
immediately
freedom.
think about like the freedom because on it like I still had to do everything like as much as I wanted to.
Freedom, yeah.
As much as I wanted to think like it was like summer because everybody thought it was like summer. Like we're like, oh, it's an early start of summer. Like we could do whatever we want. Who cares about online school? But like it was like we got to do it.
Yeah. No, I think that's a very kind of mature outlook or perspective on like kind of managing your emotions too.
Yeah.
And expectations for what happens.
Yeah.
So
I kind of took it
Nice,
to like,
Nicky.
okay, like I need to like also focus on myself, but also make sure they're doing okay.
Mhm.
Which kind of took like a big step because, like, if I was home alone, I'd probably be like, okay, mom, I'm gonna go outside and play.
Right,
I'll do
Nicky?
school later.
Mm-hmm. That's very mature of you.
My man.
He was waiting
I
for
was
it.
waiting for that. So that's It's good. I got it in. So, okay, Nicky. So that was kind of COVID. Okay, so let's talk about like when you started doing. Okay, actually, just at a high level, just describe how much of it was online, like how far into the future was it online? Was it still online up to now, like the COVID schools or
So
schools?
right now, school. Well, I don't know about now because back in Miami, they had said that next year everything's like physical. But
Okay.
I know, like last year, like people did online till the end of the year. So like you still had the
choose-
option
yeah,
to do it.
Right. Same with us.
But
Okay.
yeah, all of ninth grade it was online. Like you couldn't go back to physical school, and then 10th grade it was. You had like the choice if you want to do online or go physical.
Mm-hmm.
But that was more until like second quarter of school, cause like this for first quarter you still did it online, but then they started opening schools back up. So then I obviously wanted to go back to physical because I mean I was already getting bored of like sitting at home because
For sure.
I've been doing it a
Yeah,
lot
yeah.
already.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, like I kind of want to go back to real school, like see all my friends. So yeah, I took the chance to go. It was good. I just thought it would be. I switched to that school because I wanted more of a high school experience because like the school I was at, it only had like 50 high school students. So it was kind of like, no, not really like you knew everybody already.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to go like for a chance to like meet new people. But obviously there wasn't that many, so
Mm-hmm. Okay, and that was 10th grade when you went back physically?
yeah,
Okay.
I went back 10th
So
grade.
let me take a step back in 9th grade. So when you were doing all virtual,
Mm-hmm.
for the rest of the year, right? Just
Yeah.
for that last like spring.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, to the summer. What was that like? And, yeah, what was it like with Max Sparrow, Lavender, and trying to balance classes and everything?
It was pretty hectic because at the same time, even the teachers were new to it because they didn't know how to do online school either. It was their first time, so they were kind of like, okay, how am I gonna do this? So like, even my teachers were confused. Like sometimes my teacher would talk for like 10 minutes and her mic would be muted, and sometimes like teachers like in Zoom they had like the chance to mute everybody, so we couldn't like unmute ourselves. And like the teacher would literally be on mute for like 10 minutes and we couldn't like tell her she was on mute. Like people would email her and she wouldn't check her email because she's teaching, so like she wouldn't even know, and then she'd be like, oh, I was on mute all the time. So it's kind of like they didn't know what they were
Still getting
doing.
used to it, yeah. For
Yeah,
sure.
they
Wow.
weren't used to it at all.
Okay, so I'm curious. So like, if you had to compare before being online and then to online, how did the quality of the education feel? Like, did you feel like you learned more or less or about the same?
Definitely less because of my ADHD, because like regardless, like focusing on things is hard for me, but like in my perspective I had to like focus and learn, but like on a computer, like there's so many other that's what it is. Like I get distracted really easy. Like anything can happen and I'd like forget about what I was doing and I'd just focus on that, and that's what like it took like a big toll because I had my phone right next to me, I had like my Xbox right next to me, I had my TV, like I could do all these things, but I had to focus on school, and it was hard to like just stare in the computer and like try to learn from that,
Sure.
obviously.
Sure, it's boring.
And it's boring. Teachers didn't know what they were doing. They would always ask for help, so it's kind of like, okay, like I don't know what to do in this position.
Now, you feel
But-
like it's like, because I know like you've told me a few things about like education in like Miami in general.
Oh
and
yeah,
how it's a little-
education
little
over there
sloppy
is
down
like even worse.
there. Right.
But I think at that time in 9th grade, it was more of teachers trying to learn how to do it. And
Right.
then-
I feel like that's for everyone too. Yeah.
And then as soon as it started getting going, I feel like the teachers in Miami became less like willing to teach. Like they didn't want to teach. Like sometimes they would just like a lot of teachers would just put a PowerPoint up, and then they would be like, okay, read the PowerPoint, go through it, understand it, and then answer the questions. So it's like it's not really them teaching. They just since everything was online, they literally copied a whole PowerPoint from online and they posted it for us to like answer. So it's kind of like you're not really teaching anything. We're just like reading and then answering questions, which like normally teachers do, but that was more like every single class I had because I didn't want to teach. And then sometimes teacher would be there in the meeting, but they turn off the camera and they mute themselves. So it's like you don't know what they're doing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And if you ask for help, sometimes they wouldn't even say anything. They would just stay on mute.
So, like, overall, do you think it was a pretty big, like, drop in your ability to learn?
Yeah, I think it was a
pretty
big drop.
significant?
I think it was a big drop for everybody to learn. Like, even people that didn't, like, had the same thing as me, like, it was hard for them to learn. I can imagine what they took, too, a big toll.
Yeah.
This definitely took a big toll on, like, education for us.
Definitely, at like an education standpoint, people learn much less. It's hard to ask questions. But what do you say, like, and this comes not like morally, because like I know our school, even at the graduation ceremony, they said like our grade, like our year, had like the highest grades ever, like ever, of like something about like ACT or something like that. But like obviously that makes sense because people can cheat. Now, would you say overall was school easier? Not necessarily you learn more, but was school easier?
It was definitely easier because obviously you could copy answers all online. Which, like,
Life pro tip right now.
guys, just copy answers all online. It's all there. Brainly.com. But yeah, it was definitely easier because you could find all the answers. But like you wouldn't learn it. Like people would like copy and like I think number one thing was copy and paste. Everybody would copy and paste. Nobody learned anything. Nobody read what they were copying and pasting. They were just like they would literally copy the question, post it on Google, and just copy whatever the answer was and just put it there. And then they send it to the teacher.
He didn't do this. He didn't.
No.
Do that.
Yeah, he didn't do this.
He didn't do this.
He didn't do this.
I'm a good boy. But yeah.
Yeah, so that is pretty consistent from what I've been hearing about COVID, just kind of being hard to kind of change an environment that's kind of hard to learn in. You know, one thing I want to say too is when you mentioned being at school and also being distracted by everything around you, I think one thing I've learned over time is that for me, kind of being really productive is to really focus on one thing.
Yeah.
And to get it done with just one time. Just think about it once, forget it, and not to think about it multiple times. And so I feel like one step to like being really productive is to avoid distractions and really concentrate on one thing. And that is very tough with COVID. I would say, you know, with when you're talking about your Xbox, taking care of, you know, Max and Sparrow, Lavender, and then just trying to just learn too. It's just it's a lot going on, and
I feel like people like it's kind of sucks because people like don't understand. Because like when I say I get distracted a lot, people are always like, oh, but like just focus, like just pay attention, and it's like they don't quite understand it. Like ADHD stands for like you can't focus, you don't have like you can't stay still, you can't pay attention to things, you get distracted, and people take it as like a joke. Like it's like serious. Like I can't focus on one thing. It's like pretty hard, and like if I do, I have to like constantly tell myself, okay, I was doing this, like I need to focus on this.
You gotta put all your effort towards just trying to
like
focus on
you know,
something.
you definitely gotta put all your effort towards, because like I can literally get distraction over anything. I'll literally look at that turtle, I'm like, oh wow, like it's a pretty cool turtle. And now talk
it
about
could be a turtle. Yeah.
It could be a dinosaur.
Okay, so Nicky, let's go back to that ADHD part because I am very curious. Before I get to the next, I'm gonna transition to something I want to talk to you about. So the ADHD, can you
That's a dinosaur.
can you describe like what is it like with ADHD, and like I guess it's more of just like how can you just describe what it's like when you're really trying to concentrate on something?
I'm gonna give you an example.
Okay.
And this is like a
like
real,
this.
like
Good
a
question.
real example. My mom was telling me to throw away the trash. I will completely forget about it. Like she'll tell me, I'll go upstairs and
How soon?
like 10 seconds. I like swear to God.
Is it like you could even like go towards like the trash bags and, be
And
like,
I'll
why did
look-
and you'll be like, why did I come here?
Yeah. No, that happens to me a
so
lot.
That's kind of
Yeah,
like,
like I'll go upstairs and my mom would tell me like, okay, you need to throw away the trash. So I'll go downstairs and my dad will call me outside to go help him with something. I'll help him, and then I'll go outside. I'll go inside like nobody told me anything. I'll it just completely goes under my head, and I'll go back into my room and just chill.
Mm.
And then my mom would text me, "Did you throw away the trash?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, like I forgot." And you could ask her because it happens to her all the time. Like I have an alarm on my phone at 8:45 to take out the trash, like just so I like know what to do. Because if no one tells me, no one reminds me, no one like says anything about it, I will completely forget about it. And it's not because I don't care. It's not because I don't care, and it's not like I have to do it. It's because it just goes out of my head. Like it's not my priority, and I just forget about it.
You know, when you mentioned the garbage thing and forgetting to take it out, I just imagine Sparrow just trying to carry it, like because you're just like, oh wait, I was supposed to take that out.
Yeah,
and he's
no,
just,
no.
like trying to do your chores. Or
No,
something,
yeah, he's
but
always like,
I'm
Nicky,
just laughing.
Nicky, can you help me? Like, because our garbage can's weird. Like, when you're pulling out the trash, the garbage can goes up with it. So you have to hold it down. So it's like a 2-person job for like Sparrow. So like you'll see Max and Sparrow trying to do it together, and they still wouldn't be able to do it. So it's kind of like oh wait, like that's my job. Like I have to do that. Like, let me do it. They're like, no, I got this.
Okay, so with the ADHD, and I want to get back to one thing too. So if someone were to remind you twice, would you still remember then, or would you actually forget a second time, or like, what do you think helps you to, how many times does it take to really click? I would say.
I
you think?
sometimes it clicks and sometimes it doesn't. It really depends. Like if it's something like really big, my brain will be like, okay, like you have to do this. But I like still to this day, and I've been told to do this for like a good like 2 years now. I still forget to take out the trash. Like I still wake up sometimes in the morning and I take out the trash. I'm like, damn it, like I missed the garbage truck. Now this trash can is like full, and I have to wait like another 4 days. Like till this day, I still forget it, and it's not because like I obviously don't care about it or I'm lazy. It's just because like I just forget. Like people don't understand that. People are like, oh, you just don't want to do it. You're just lazy, and it's like, no, dude. Like I literally forget. Like that's why I put an alarm on my phone. Like it's like okay, like it obviously is important to me because I don't want to leave the trash can like that because it looks bad on us. But like I just I forget it.
Okay, so when you mentioned that example, and I love that, Nicky, that you used an example, because that really helps for Joseph and I to really picture it, and for anyone just in life, like, so when you mentioned like, oh, mom would tell you to take out the garbage, and then 10 seconds later, as you're walking up the stairs, you just forget. I feel like that is to some degree that. I feel like it's pretty
normal.
Normal,
right,
yeah. I definitely walk around sometimes, and I'm like, wait, what was I supposed to do? Like I have those thoughts too.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm
like
sure,
more
like
mild, more
right,
mildly.
maybe like it's like something that's pretty normal, but there's just a range, like. So I know what you're feeling now that you mentioned this. So that's really interesting.
it would really suck at my job because at my job since I was like pretty good, they would always like tell me to do things, and I would always like forget. And I would always tell people, remind me to do this at this time because I got to do it. And they obviously reminded me.
Okay. Actually, that's what I wanted to transition to into work. But before I get there, I just want to get back into like, so with this forgetting thing, it obviously sounds like it's kind of like a priority thing that you have. So like if taking out the garbage is the highest priority of the day, you're probably not going to forget it. But so I'm wondering like when let's say mom tells you to take out the garbage and just all other kind of things, what are you kind of thinking about? Like, what's the main priority that you're thinking about?
So
that
when my mom
tells
me that, I'd say like my main priority is to do it. So like I'll go straight down to do it. Like that's how I think. Like when someone tells me to do something, I have to do it. I'm gonna go straight to that and I'm gonna do it. But let's say like my dad needs my help. I'll obviously go to him, not knowing that I'll forget about it, obviously, because I'm always like, okay, like I have to do this. But I'll just get so lost in it. Like of what I need to do, and I'll focus on helping him. I'll put all my focus on it and like doing what he needs me to do, and then I'll forget that she needed me to throw out the trash. So it's more like I can't like think about two things. I can't multitask. I'm really bad at that.
Right.
So I can't do two things and then not forget about the other thing. So if I'm like helping my dad for like 10 seconds or like a minute, I'll forget about throwing away trash because I can't have two things on my mind.
Right. I agree. Multitasking is, it seems like it's productive, but a lot of times I don't feel like it's very productive as opposed to really concentrating on one thing, like one action and getting it done and then moving on. So, have you ever thought about using your phone, like technology, as a way to help you be more
Yeah,
productive in
I-
this capacity by, taking notes? Like when mom tells you to take out the garbage, you write that down, and then as George, dad comes and asks you to do something, you remember that you already wrote it down, so you can
Yeah.
forget about it. You don't even have to think about it anymore. You
Mhm.
just think about helping dad before you check your phone and realize, oh, it's time.
Right.
I forgot. I got to do
I
this.
have like an alarm on my phone that every single day, like, I'm telling you, like, it's bad. I'll forget. Every single day, I have an alarm on my phone. 8:45, like, take out the trash, grab it from the trash can, put it in the trash, and then Monday. Damn, I haven't been in Miami so long. I forgot when the garbage comes. I'm pretty sure it's Monday, Thursday.
It could be Monday, Thursday.
It could be
eternal.
So, yeah, I have like an alarm to take it out. But overall, like every single day, I have the alarm that tells me to go do it. And right when it goes off, that's the first thing I do because I know
It's good.
if I don't do it, I'll forget about it. Like even if I'm like playing a game, I'll literally like pause the game to do it because that's how serious it is. Like, I'll forget.
Right.
Yep.
So it's like that's like right when it goes off, that's my main priority. Like I have to do it right now.
That's good, good. Because I feel like, it's good that you've taken a different approach to like solving it. Because I feel like
Yeah.
organization would be a really good way to just like use that as a technique and organizing a way to like get your priorities straight and figure out what you're gonna do.
That's just one of the struggles I have, obviously, like just remembering stuff. So if there's anything I could do to like help it, I'm gonna do it because I don't want to see Max and Sparrow trying to like struggle trying to take out
Do
the
your own
garbage when
chores,
like it's when it's my job, you know.
Right.
Yeah, do you ever so let's just talk about like how we can do you ever think about how you can like use technology to help with this? Like, do you ever have those thoughts? Like, maybe it's just like, okay, well, you kind of did because you already set alarms and stuff.
Yeah.
But
I-
do you kind of think like really deeply about that stuff? And
I'd say that's like the only way I've used right now to like help remind me.
Mhm.
But I haven't like really like looked into other things to help me like remind me.
Sure.
Like I put papers on my door to like tell me
Mhm.
everything I need to do in the morning. And sometimes I'll just like wake up and I'll just walk right by it.
Mm-hmm.
Not even like reading it.
Yeah.
Cause I'm just so like distracted by everything else. I'm like, oh, paper, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Paper, wow.
I think over time, you'll with more responsibility that you'll start getting with the way, I see you kind of moving on in life,
Yeah.
is that you will start to feel the need to try to make yourself more efficient.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you're super efficient when you're just doing one thing, and you too, Joseph, just like doing whatever you are doing. But when you get distracted, it's hard to be super productive in that one area because you just got pivoted.
Yeah, definitely.
So I really see you kind of, and over time we'll just kind of talk about how we can use technology to help with that.
Mhm.
'Cause-
One of the things that like I don't know, it's weird because I forget about some things and some things I always remember. Like Oreo. I love Oreo a lot. It's like my favorite dog.
Black German Shepherd.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Every single day, like she'll wake me up and the first thing that comes to my mind, like not even like before me, I'll always put her in like first. I'll take her out. I'll let her do her thing. I'll give her water and food. Like that's the first thing I do every morning.
Mhm.
And that's like my priority right there. Like I never forget about it, feed her. I don't
That's
know.
good.
It's because she sees my room all day, or that's just something I remember to do. It's a weird way to think about it, but that's like one of the things that I can't forget.
Yeah.
But
Just
it
fit in
could
the schedule, yeah.
it could be because like she literally sits right next to me.
Right. I think just seeing her too is just an
Yeah.
indicator to help you
Yeah.
to do this.
Yeah, definitely that.
Right. And technology could be that same indicator
Mhm.
for you if you want to try to accomplish certain things.
Yeah.
And I say this as not as like people telling you what to do, like mom and dad,
Mhm.
but things that you want to do.
Yeah.
So like, go to play basketball, start a YouTube channel or something like that.
Mhm.
I'm sure, that will definitely come into play. Okay, so I'm going to start with the transition. Next question. Okay, so Nicky, you started work
Mhm.
recently.
Yeah.
So tell us about leading up to it. What was that like? Why did you want to work? And then we'll get to how, you actually started working at that first job?
It's actually pretty. Work had a huge impact in my life, a good impact actually, and so during Corona, obviously in the summer there was like everything was closed. There was like really nothing to do. So at home I'd feel like so lazy. I feel useless. Like my potential is like I just sit at home, do nothing, just babysit all day. That was like my everyday schedule. Just watch my brothers and sisters, wait till my parents come home, and then just either go outside or just do nothing. It was like pretty boring, and I felt like that was like 2 months of me just doing nothing, and I felt like I felt so useless, like just sitting at home every day doing nothing. That's like so bad. I wanted to do something, so it took me a while to find a job actually. And right when I turned 16, there's like this restaurant close to my house named Black Point, and my dad's actually close friends with the managers that work there. So as soon as I turned 16, I was eligible to work there. So I had put in a request to work there. They gave me a job actually, like it was like a week. I remember that day they had called me too because I was in class and it was my bio class, and the service in there sucks. Like it's really really bad. So I'm there, like who's calling me right now? I answer. They're like, Nicholas Olaniel, is this you? And I was like, oh, thank you. And it's funny because I was in the middle of class, and I was like, Miss, can you use the bathroom while I was on the phone with them? And I was like, okay, let me put myself on mute. And she's like, yeah, go. So I'm like in the hallway trying to talk to them. And I'm like putting my phone in the air trying to get a service. So like they were on a speaker. And like, people are walking past me in the hallways. They're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, dude, I'm trying to get service. Like, this is like really important. So I was like, oh, yeah. This is Nicholas Olaniel. Yeah, I had applied there because I wanted to work there. And they're like, so we have a spot for you. It's food runner. I was like, oh, perfect. Like, when can I start? They're like, you can start today after school. And I was like, oh,
Wow.
That's
yeah.
fast.
I was like, oh, this is like perfect. Like, could be like a change in my life right here. This is like a new beginning. So,
Right.
first thing I did, call my dad. I got the job. They want me to start today. And I was like, he's like, oh, let's go. Like, after school, we're going to go get you the shoes, and that's it, you're working. So I'd say, like, as soon as I got there, it was pretty weird because there's obviously already people there that I don't know yet. And there's obviously, like, I was the youngest person in the kitchen. I was 16. Everybody else over here is, like, there was a good amount of people that were, like, 17, 18. But the majority of the people, because it was a restaurant, it was a pretty good restaurant, too. 30, 20-year-old people, like, not people I could really relate to, but people I could learn from. So that's what I took it as, like, okay, you're 20 years old, you're already, like, you're an adult, you're already, like, living by yourself. How can I learn from you and, like, know where to go in the future? Because right now, like, I'm not lost, but I don't really know what I want to do from now. Yeah.
It's unclear.
So I definitely think working really helped me. So I started there. It was low-key kind of hard because there's so many things I need to learn. It wasn't like a fast food restaurant that was like closed. Like I had to learn all the tables, and we have like 60 tables. No, we have 80 tables actually. So there's 80 tables that I needed to learn, and like what numbers. That way when I'm running food, I don't give it to the wrong people. So it was definitely a lot to learn. I had to learn how everybody did things in there, like cleaning up. I had to do a lot of things to clean. Like it was just a lot. But I'm kind of like a fast learner. I'm definitely a visual learner. So as I learn things like physically, like I actually do it, I'll just learn it way better. So it took me 2 days to like remember where all the tables were. So that was like pretty. Like they caught on to it. They're like, wow, like all your tables already. That's pretty good. And they gave me a map at home, and when at home, that was my main priority. I just like studied. I was like, okay, this. Next day, I started working there. They gave me a schedule. I had Monday, Tuesday off, and it was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday I would work. And after school, I would work at 4, and I would get home at 9 or 10. And my school would end at 2, so it was literally
Tight
right.
schedule.
Yeah, it was a very tight schedule. Right after school, go straight to my house, change, and go to work. And like, since I went to school all the way in Kendall, it was a pretty big like distance, so it was like a good like 30-minute drive. So I would get out of school at 2:20. My dad would be there at 2:30, and then 30 minutes to get over there. I would change, I would eat, take a shower sometimes, and then I would go straight to work. And then I'd get home late. But I loved it there so much because everybody there was like, it was like pretty tight. It was like a family. Like people there would literally take me home because they would be like, oh, you don't have a ride. Like I remember when I didn't have a ride, so they take me home. Like every day I was being took home. So it was pretty. It was like, people there were so nice. So soon as I started working there, I kind of learned everything, and then I always want to try new things. So I tried food prepping, which is like I put everything on everybody's food, like all the stuff that needs to go on. So I got pretty good at that. And then that was like a week into it. So there's obviously people that were there longer than me, and like they obviously know more. But since I was learning so fast, it was kind of like, okay, you could help me with this. So I would always help people with other things, and then other people would do it. And then a lot of people like left because of college and everything, because that's when school started to end. So they were kind of like, okay, like now I need to go. I want to go to college. So a lot of people left. And then we started hiring other kids. Since it was like summer, everybody wants a summer job, but not everybody wants to like work. So it kind of got like harder, and I know that I need to step up my game because one of the people got fired, and obviously like they were pretty bad, but like she was hired before me, so I knew that like I could low key be next if I don't step up my game. So I stepped on my game. I started learning everything, and I was pretty good at my job. I knew a lot of things that people didn't know when they were like, it was already a month, and I was like already knew most of the stuff. So as a food runner, I'm still young, like I'm pretty like, I walk pretty fast. So I was always like running food like super fast. And on Saturdays we get so slammed. It was like a 3-hour wait, and there was just food constantly being like needed to like go out. That way, all the food that comes from the window, they'd put it to get food prepped, and then they needed space to prep the food. So I was just running through the door like it was nothing. I would carry like 5 plates on my hand, and I'd like take it to one table, give them all their food, and then be back in like 20 seconds. I was like going super fast.
Right.
So like they managers caught on to that, and they're like, wow, like you're really fast. Like you're better than all these other people, because all the people there they would take so many breaks. I would go like 12 hours without taking one break. And I didn't need a break. Like, I wanted to work. I wanted to show them that I could, like, I'm really good. Like, I really want this. So, just running, and they caught on to it. And it was actually pretty good because tips were really, like, a huge help. Like, Monday through Thursday, I'd get, like, a $20 tip every single day. Just from, like, because waiters would tip us out. And they tip us out, like, a good amount if we did good. Because sometimes, like, the food owners, they mess up. And like I said, like, people get their tables wrong. So they would always, like, give it to the wrong table. And then the waiters would have to deal with their complaint of the table. And it wouldn't go to us because all we did was run food. So, they wouldn't talk to us. So if they tip us out good, then we get a good tip. If they don't, we get a bad tip. But usually, like, when we're super busy, and I would always tell these people, like, when they would always want to, like, slack off, I'd always tell them, like, come on, like, we gotta get all this done. So they started noticing that. So they started tipping us out good because, like, we were actually getting on track. And it took a big part because I felt like it was the beginning of the summer when I started working. So overall, like, throughout the summer, I saw all these other people come and work. So they weren't, like, as good. So they definitely, like, would listen to me when I told them to do it. So, like, I definitely had, like, a lot of responsibilities working there because I would always have to tell these people, like, work because they'd always slack off.
Okay, so as a food prep, you started just, like, putting the food together, right? Assembling it, and then eventually
like,
running it
ketchup
out
and
to
sauces
the
and stuff?
people?
It's more like seasonings. Like, okay, so let's say, like, the steak. It needed, like, a sauce, so I put the sauce on, I put the steak knife, I put the rice, I put the broccoli. Like, I would put the plate together, make it look how nice it looks. Cause, like,
Yeah.
when you get it from the window, it's just a steak.
Oh,
It's
okay.
literally just a steak.
Gotcha.
So I gotta, like, clean up the plate. I gotta put the rice. I gotta put the broccoli. I have to put the sauce. I have to put the mushrooms, everything else that goes on it, and then they have to food run it out. So they have to run it out. But sometimes when, like, we weren't that busy, they would always, like, it's kind of dumb that they did it too, because they would always, like, take out people, and it would only be like 3 of us working, and sometimes it was really slow. they take out the other person. It would just be two of us. So one person running window, one person food prepping and running. And like I used to do that, and it was pretty crazy because sometimes we'd get like a random kick, and it would be a lot of people there, and I would food prep and run at the same time. So I was food prepping, I would make the dish, and then I would run at the same time. So I would have to be fast. So I'd always take the food, and I had to be right back to prep all the other food that was there. So I was nonstop just going.
Gotcha. Okay. And so when interacting with people, what was that like when you're running and bringing the food to them, talking to them? I'm sure they probably, talk to you sometimes. And what was that like at work?
It was pretty fun because I got to meet a lot of like new people. I got to like see like it definitely built my social skills a lot because when
Right.
people would tell me like to go get them like the sauce, I would always have to like go, and then I had to be polite and
Just to
everything.
make like
just
small
forget-
talk and
Yeah,
whatnot,
like definitely made small talk with some people. It was definitely weird because I don't really talk to people like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because like during the whole summer school, I didn't talk to anybody physically for like a good while besides like my friends. So like it was definitely a long time since I like talked to actual people.
Mm-hmm.
But it was definitely like cool because I got to meet a lot of people.
Okay, gotcha. So, what are some of the like main things you've kind of learned from working that you enjoyed?
Definitely I think my skills on multitasking have gone like a little better because I definitely have to multitask there a
for
lot.
sure. Especially in the food business, you gotta multitask like crazy.
I definitely learned a lot of multitasking, which I have seen myself get better at it, but still kind of suck at it. But
sure.
during that time where I'm on like pressure, it definitely like helps. The pressure like definitely helps for me to like remember stuff, not get distracted like I was saying.
Yeah. And like they say, diamonds are made under high pressure,
Yeah.
high temperatures.
Yeah.
So,
No, because when you have like two chefs in the back telling you what to do, and then you have all these food runners up saying, "Oh, where do I go? Like, where's this?" Like, you definitely gotta talk to the chefs, cause like kitchen is all about communication. Like, you gotta know what's going on, cause like if you slip up one time, it could mess up everybody. Like, let's say one person takes the wrong food to the wrong table, it messes everybody up because then we have to make a dish super duper fast because they messed up. So we have to put one dish in front of all the other orders that we have.
sorry about that.
Oh,
So-
I had a question, and I picked it up on it while I was listening to you talk about your job. So when you were talking about proving yourself to the kitchen, showing them that you wanted it, and like how that girl got fired, it just like showed like a level of like development in your life that I've seen through like maturity and whatnot. Just getting this job, because obviously getting your first job is very exciting. You start making money, start having like a stable income. How do you think this job developed you as a person, maturity wise, just skills based off of like learning just from working?
I think money right now is like my main focus. Like I cannot, right now I feel like mentally ill because I'm not
Yeah.
making any money and I'm spending money, and I don't want to go broke because I feel like right now, because of my job, I have goals. Like I set goals for myself that I need to do because obviously some of the people that work at my job are like not bums, but like I'd say like they have like no income, they still live with their parents. Like it's like I look at them and I'm like, okay, I don't want to be like that. I want to like be better than that. So I want to start off. I want to have a good start. That way I don't end up like that. I want to save money. I want to do my thing. I want to grind out now. That way I still have time to do that because I know you don't really get anywhere in life if you don't. Well, from in my perspective, like all these people work a lot, and seeing my parents like build their own business and everything, and seeing how much they work and see how far they are. Because my dad didn't really come from anything. Like he worked when he was 14. Like his parents didn't have that much money. He was super independent, and that's what I'm trying to be. Definitely say like growing up, I was definitely like I would always like talk to my mom about everything and always needed her help. And I feel like this job kind of showed me like you have so much potential. Like you need to focus on yourself, be independent, and do what you need to do to get it done. And definitely like making money showed myself how I could do it. Like I know I could be independent. I don't need their help anymore. Like at 18, I want to move out and do my own thing.
Right.
I don't like need their help anymore. So definitely feel like making money definitely made a huge impact in my life. Seeing like how much money I was making, and my push to work more, because I definitely wanted to get a lot of hours in so I can make a lot of money. And I know it was affecting like how I like didn't see my parents that much, but I know it was right for me. Like this is like my start in my future, my own future.
Right. Right.
I wanted to create like my own, like I wanted to start from right there.
I totally know what you mean. So I feel like when I first started working, it was almost unhealthy. No, it was unhealthy. For
Yeah,
sure.
it was definitely unhealthy.
I was like, I was kind of ignorant in a sense. I was like, felt like I was chasing a bag and blocking things out my
Yes.
head, which is very unhealthy. But it's like, I thought, and who knows, like, I'm not sure if I was on the right path or like grinding the way I was, because I was busting in like 80-hour weeks, like building up like 160 hours in 2 weeks. And I was just like, all I had thought was like about money, because like you really learn the amount like of a dollar after you start making money and are independent. So I definitely totally understand what you were talking about with just like how unhealthy you felt with working and like just wanting money. But when you were talking about your dad and like how he started, like what you saw from him starting his own business, coming from nothing, and how hard he worked, what does a work ethic mean to you? Like how do you define a hard worker? Because I have a different sense. I feel like I wouldn't say it's just like chasing the bag as a hard worker or working an immense amount of hours, but it comes to different things. So what does it mean to you?
My dad's really inspiring. Like I definitely learned a lot from him. Like I've heard about his past and everything, and I like learned from that. I'd say a hard worker to me is like someone that's always reliable, because I know even though like because my dad's like not lazy, but like sometimes he doesn't like do things like for the house. But like when he has like his goal on something,
Sparrow's lifting the garbage.
when he has like his goal on something, he gets it done, and he puts when he has one like goal that he needs to do, he always goes for it. Like he always gets it done, which that's what I think is a hard worker. Like he gets things done. He's reliable when you need him. When something's important to him, he gets it done for sure. And you could always like ask him for help, and he'll help you. Good worker is always somebody that for me it's someone that gives you that someone that has that push to just work, try harder, do better.
Right.
I think it's a great word of wisdom when you say, like, how do you define someone with a good work ethic, or someone, that you like, kind of just generally
Right.
like?
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
someone who's reliable. It's someone who's
Reliable,
actually,
definitely
Yeah.
if you tell them something, they'll make sure it's taken
Yeah.
care of.
consistency.
Kind of like
reliable,
Chino
for sure.
right now.
Love Chino.
Yeah.
This guy working on the house next door.
Yeah.
Yeah. But-
Our house.
Yeah, no, that's really awesome to hear, Nikki. That's I'm just blown away, because you're 16, and I mean, I think you're very mature for your age.
I
Like, you've-
just wish that I could have kept working, because like obviously like coming here, I didn't want to come here at first, but I needed help with the house and everything, and I kind of like lost my job in the process, and like it definitely like it hit me pretty hard. Like I'm still trying to like, okay, like how, like my main focus right now is how I'm gonna make money, because even though like I don't have a job, I still have my goals I need to get to, and like one of my goals is to move out when I'm 18. I want to like show them how independent like I am, and how like I could do things on my own, and I could just handle things on my own, because
Right.
overall in my life, like I've always needed help with ADHD and everything, because it was pretty bad. Like I just have so many distractions. I needed someone to remind me of things. Like I just want to show that like I've overcome that.
You just want to prove yourself in a way.
I want to prove that like I've overcome that. Like I could like mature by myself. I could do things by myself. I could be on my own.
Sure.
I don't need any like parenting anymore. I feel like that job definitely like had a huge impact.
I totally respect that, and that definitely makes sense. Just like an advice I could just give out to like you and just younger people in general, because I definitely noticed this just from like, and I'm only 18, I'm still really young as well, but like the way, because we already understand how it's unhealthy of how how much we're like the way we're working right now. Like you only live once, You're super young. You'll always have time to make money. Like, you have so much life ahead of you. You've got so much time. And you can definitely set goals and follow them. But while you're young, you want to make the best of your life, because next thing you know, you'll be 25 or just like you'll be at a certain age and you won't be able to have fun anymore, because it will be time to work, because you will have to work. So
Yeah.
you still want to be able to live as a kid, be making sure you're having them fun. Because like you said, your dad was a big grinder. It came from nothing. But I know your dad had fun. I know
Yeah.
he has amazing memories that he can always say that he had. And so I started getting that, like noticing that, I'd say this year, senior year, because I was just freaking wrecking, just working every single day, like didn't get to see my friends at all. And I thought that was the right way to do it, just making money, bringing these huge checks. But like, then I just thought about it, I was like, this just isn't it. So I cut down my hours a little bit, went out to hang out with my friends at least like every weekend, just to like be able to see them, make memories before they all go to college, because that stuff's important. When you're older, you want to be able to like be like, yeah, like me and my friends back in the day, like talking to your kids, or like be like, yeah, we used to do this when we were young, or do that, have pictures, have memories, just memories in general, because at a certain point you're not going to be at an age where you can make those memories again, because it
Yeah.
will be time that you have to start working every single day. So I definitely you got to have a balance. You got to be able to work right now, but also make some memories.
And I'm gonna try out this sound effect. I'm not sure. Oh, that's not the right one. Okay, I got it. Okay. That didn't go quite as planned. Okay, but let me just wait for this one to end. Still going. Okay. So just so I can relate, I'm just gonna, relate to you guys and chime in a little bit. But so you guys described, I think a common thing I noticed that is when you guys first started working, it was all about like the grind. You guys were pretty
Yeah.
hardcore into it.
Yeah.
You guys worked like 80 hours, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
definitely.
I just want to chime in and say like I was like that too when I first started working at McDonald's. I was putting 80 hours, every 2 weeks. Or no, actually that was 1 week. It was just 1 week.
I was gonna
80
say,
hours, yeah, 80 hours
that's
a week
what I
or
was talking
something.
about too, 1
Yeah,
week.
that's kind of crazy now. But yeah, I do the same thing. I'd see my friends and stuff, and they just like see me working all the time.
Yeah.
They'd come to just say hi, but they're just like, oh man, he's going ham on the fries.
Yeah.
Like, but so yeah, I think we all kind of have like that similar kind of drive.
Yeah,
We're
definitely.
similar in that sense, for sure. And now one thing I just want to talk about, and I'm wondering if you guys have thought about this much, is like when you're young, time is it feels like it's infinite.
Yeah.
And then as you get older and you start to realize that, when you really start to think about when typically humans have a average lifespan, you realize that time is finite.
Yeah.
And so I think as you guys start to take on more responsibility and work and stuff, you start to become more productive in the sense that with all the money you saved and the money you spend it on for certain things, you start to realize that there are certain things that you want to do in life that you can with the money.
Yeah.
And from that, you kind of realize what you want to do in the future.
Right.
Like the responsibility, almost the pressure of having all this responsibility of working hard, taking care of your dog, your children. You start to realize what you really want to accomplish with life.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
time is, finite. There's only a certain amount of time before, you pass away. And I feel like, yeah, you guys will, do great things.
No, that was really good. I feel like exactly what you said. I could just totally picture it in my head, because one day I was just starting to think about it. I forgot I was like 17 or 16. No, I was 16 for sure. But I was like, wow, like, yeah, no, like I'm gonna become an adult soon, and I just want to be able to live. So like, I never thought started thinking about it, and this is a takeaway I got from the gym and from work together as a whole. So like, just because I wanted to be able to hang with my friends as well, time management became like a really big focus in my life. So, and I think that happens to a lot of people once they start, once they get that kind of recall in life, just like, I want to be able to do all these things together with the amount of time I have. Time management becomes huge, because although like money's cool and stuff, you're never giving back time. So time's one of the most valuable things you can hold. So that's where we're like, I started formatting my schedule. I started becoming a lot more organized. That's where I started trying to see like where I could fit things where and where. And you'll be surprised. I mean, you can sleep 6, 8 hours a day, so you have like about 18 hours today to live. So that's where you use those 18 hours and you format your life. You know, you can work, sleep, make sure you still get your workout in and eat, but you just gotta format it because time is valuable. There's a lot of things
Agreed.
you want to get done.
And just want to say again, remember, diamonds are made under high pressure and high temperature. So we've gone through a lot of topics, Nikki. I think I have a ton more that I really want to explore with you, but we're gonna save those for another episode.
Okay.
So just to cap this off, you know, what kind of advice, as you know, if you're 16 years old now, you've been through COVID, you've had your first job, like what would you tell your younger self, if you could, you know, relive your life again, or tell anyone else that's watching this, like what's like some advice you would give to them? Anyone younger, like even Max and Sparrow.
Yeah.
You know.
I definitely say.
And I mean, it's not
I'm
an
not
easy
good at
question
giving
because,
advice.
like, you know, again, it takes some time to really like kind of with more time in life, you'll start to think about these things, and you'll start to reflect. Oh, that's one way you could have been. You can be more productive, and you can still apply these in your life once you start to think about it more. But like, if you could tell your former self, you know, maybe just one thing that you would have wanted to do, like.
Advice that I'd give to like other people, I definitely say like, definitely plan out your life from now, cause like, as Joe was saying, like time is very like valuable, and it's good to get like an early start. And definitely like this world is very like hard to live in. Like you don't want to be that person that still lives with their parents at like 30. Like, you know, it feels good at the moment, but if you really see it, it's like, what do you like? You have so much potential in your life, you know. Like a lot of people have potential, and I feel like people just have to like unlock that potential. So I feel like you should try new things. Definitely. I don't know. I feel like I don't know about me because I know I'm hardworking, and I feel like the job made like a really big impact in my life. I definitely gained like a lot of maturity, responsibility. Like I'm definitely more mature than how I was 4 months ago, and I feel like people should get a job. It's definitely life changing. It could point you in the right path because I feel like right now I'm like seeing that path now and what I need to do to you know progress in life. Obviously, plan out your life now for sure. Find something that you're interested in and go for it. Like don't have any regrets. Just focus on it. Make it your goal and just go straight to it. Like no distractions. Just focus on that goal. Like Joe was saying, like have fun with your friends and everything, which is a really good example because like growing up, like I didn't really get to have that life of I'm gonna go to this person's house, hang out with them. Like I want to go here. My parents were really like since Miami, like it's a nice place, but it is like really not safe. Like
Very,
just to
it can be
be
very
out,
dangerous.
just to be
Sure.
outside by yourself is a really big like issue because there's a lot of kidnapping, there's a lot of shootings that go on, and like I hate to say it too because like I'm from there, you know, and it's definitely hard to say because our reality now, like our world is coming to that, and it sucks because like no one wants to live with those things. Like no one wants to live with gun violence. No one wants to live with all those things that, like even going to a party. Like I remember I heard about when in Miami there was this Halloween party and it got shot up. Like there was people came by and then they shot someone, and it's crazy to think about how like any party could get shot up. Like even concerts, like it's pretty crazy that you have to be scared to go to a concert. Like anything could happen at a concert. It's crazy to think about how our world has come to that now. Like I have fear of going to this place because it can get shot up, and it definitely affects people. It definitely affected my mom and how like she like
Way she thinks.
the
and
way
how
she
protects
thinks
you.
about
Yeah.
everything. Like I could tell my mom, I want to go outside. She'll be like, Nick, like you got to be careful. Call me wherever you are. To turn on your location so she knows where I am. And it's crazy because that's how she thinks now with everything going on. And I feel like that definitely reflects on how like I am now. Very like didn't really like have like I have friends, but I don't have friends like since day one because it was always like go to school and just come back home. Like, I couldn't hang out. I never went to the mall and hang out with my friends. It kind of started now, ever since I started, like, maturing more. I'm kind of like, okay, Mom, I'm going to go outside, and I just go. It's like, you know, I could, like, handle myself now.
Yeah. Okay. And just to recap then, your kind of words of advice would be to form a plan in life and then act on it.
Yeah, definitely act on it, and don't have any regrets on your decisions, because everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. I definitely believe in that. So chase your goal.
Okay. I like it.
Chase your goal. Put your full effort on it. Don't have any regrets on what you're doing, because it all has a purpose. All of us have a purpose. All of us.
Sounds good. Well, thanks for coming on, Nicky.
It's a great episode.
Joseph, thanks for coming on again. Thanks everyone for watching. See you on the next one.